All right, YouTube, what is going on? It is Zaya here from Zaya&TheSteelers back with another video. And as you can tell by the title, we have a lot to get to as the trade deadline looms. But before we get into that, got to get into the prerequisites. If you are a Steelers fan or you enjoy NFL content in general, be sure to hit that subscribe button. As you can see, we have hit 300 subscribers. We're at 304 technically, so let's get a gunshot for that. We're at 300 subscribers, man. We will talk more about that, though, at the end of the video. For now, got to get right to it. The Steelers are the listed favorites to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to start this video, by the way, because there's not just DeAndre Hopkins. There's some other people that we've been listed to or linked to. But we got to start with DeAndre Hopkins because to me, this is like the most, I don't want to say impossible because we're, the favorites, but like it's the most unnecessary / like weird move. And by unnecessary, we know DeAndre Hopkins is a dog. We know DeAndre Hopkins is a guy. We know he's been one of the top receivers in the NFL for a while. But is that really what we need right now? DeAndre Hopkins, once again, I know he's a stud. And we got Deontay, we got George Pickens, maybe that third spot's kind of Allen Robinson, kind of Calvin Austin, could be DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know. Really though, like the favorites is crazy, and I think this always happens. I don't want to, act like a new fan or whatever. Like I haven't experienced this before. This kind of always happens with like random good player who we dead ass don't need. No offense to DeAndre Hopkins, but like wide receiver right now, this is what they told me before the draft and why we couldn't draft Jordan Addison. I'll get to that in a second. But the Steelers always seem to be linked to just like some random position that like fans, everybody's not really talking about, and it's like kind of out of left field. And this to me was straight out of left field. DeAndre Hopkins, man. Hey, I wouldn't be like boo DeAndre Hopkins if we got him. However, I think anything higher than, and this is crazy because we're talking about DeAndre Hopkins, but I think anything higher than like a fourth, anything higher than a fourth to me is we're reaching. Anything higher than a fourth, we're reaching. And once again, not to discredit DeAndre Hopkins, if he still is that guy, then maybe we go ahead and make that trade. But I was told before the season we didn't need help at wide receiver because if we did, we would have got Jordan Addison, who has, who knows, 4 or 5 touchdowns at this point in life, 6 touchdowns at this point in life. This is just Pitt fan frustrations because I swear, guy, like if you guys saw the pre-draft before Jordan Addison was drafted and you saw the combine stuff and you saw like the way Steelers fans talked about it, because of course Kenny was his quarterback in college, one of his quarterbacks in college. And so, they had that connection. They did really good in 2021. And so when it was Jordan Addison's time to get drafted, it was like, oh, maybe we give him a look, And then 99% of Steelers media was like, no, we don't need a receiver. That would be crazy. We can't just draft him because he was Kenny's teammate. And then Pitt fans, they're mad because he left. And like, so now Jordan Addison isn't good. Really, this isn't a Jordan Addison video. I did want to get that off, though. Like, man, you guys thought way too hard about that. And Jordan Addison, 2021 Biletnikoff winner, Jordan Addison, very good in the NFL, But we didn't need a wide receiver, especially not in the first round. So, hey, you got me. If we didn't need Jordan Addison at that point in life, we don't need DeAndre Hopkins at this point in life. To me, let me know what you guys think about that. Are you guys feeling DeAndre Hopkins? Maybe, just maybe, he can open the field more. However, George Pickens, and here we are, man, big Steelers fan, big recency bias, big everything. George Pickens, man, like, we throw it to him, he seems to come down with the ball. And we don't really throw it to him as much as I would like to. And as much as like a potential DeAndre Hopkins, we need a threat down the field. We need somebody down the field. We don't even throw down the field, to be honest. And so once again, I guess, he's a guy. He definitely is, a guy. He definitely was a guy. I don't want to because to be honest, guys, I really don't know how he's playing this year. I'm sure his numbers are like decent. But it's not the same. And everybody, it's not the same. It's not like we're trading for DeAndre out of Houston. It's just not the same. But if it does end up being the same, and I'm just freezing cold takes, whatever, I'll stand on it. I'll take it. But I don't think this move is necessarily where we need to have our focus on. That's me. Shout out to Alan Saunders for this article. I don't think I got to get too into it. I think it's just like a story of Terrell Edmunds. I saw Terrell Edmunds' name. Terrell Edmunds, free Terrell Edmunds, man. Bring him back to Pittsburgh. But I meant to say DeAndre Hopkins. So yeah, shout out to Alan Saunders for this article. And actually, I am going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here because the other listed teams toward the top of the board were the Cleveland Browns, Seattle Seahawks, Chargers, Jaguars, Bills, and Rams. The Browns, like maybe. Seahawks, do not. Is Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett, or DK Metcalf hurt? Like I don't see what they're doing. Chargers, like maybe, but they thought a little bit too hard about Jordan Addison too, so now you got to pay for it. No DeAndre Hopkins for you. Jacksonville, how about we wait a week? But I mean, let's also throw the ball to Calvin Ridley. I have Calvin Ridley on a fantasy team, and like he's just nothing. So I don't, and maybe Bills. Maybe you got Gabe Davis. All seem like teams that already kind of have wide receivers. Like even the Rams down here, we just saw Cooper Kupp and Puka. Fucking Puka tore us up, man. I don't know if you guys watched the last Steelers game, but Puka was eating. So DeAndre Hopkins there. I don't know. I've heard Baltimore. Baltimore always needs a wide receiver, and I'm a Steelers fan. I'd rather them not get DeAndre Hopkins. But I would expected teams like that. But for a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who has Deontay Johnson on a second contract, who has George Pickens, and he's proven to be elite. For us to be like, yeah, we're going to get DeAndre Hopkins now for the rest of the year. Very interesting. So let me know what you guys think. Should we be in on DeAndre Hopkins? Should we not be in on DeAndre Hopkins? Let me know. Now, to the meat and potatoes, to the reason you're all here, to probably the thumbnail I haven't made yet, but I bet somewhere, some way he'll be on it. Patrick Surtain. And not even just Patrick Surtain. Let's read this whole tweet from Blitzberg. Shout out to Blitzberg. Albert Breer confirms Patrick Surtain II will indeed be on the trade block. Quote, the Broncos are going to listen to trade inquiries on Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Garrett Bowles, Josie Jewell, Justin Simmons, and even Patrick Surtain II over the next 6 days. The Broncos aren't close. They need picks, and it makes sense exploring getting more. Let's get a gunshot for that. Now, we gotta take a deep breath. We gotta come back down to earth, just real quick, because I'm about to take us on a ride, on a straight fantasy trip right now. But just hear me out. If Patrick Surtain II is available, and if Patrick Surtain II gets traded to anywhere that's not Pittsburgh, we flopped. We flopped. We threw it away. But I will say, multiple first-round picks, that's where things get a little spooky to me. That's where things get a little like, I don't know. Because, hey, man, Patrick Surtain II, I've talked about it in videos. I think a video maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago now. I kind of called this, that the Broncos were going to blow it up, but I'm not really, taking credit for it because it was kind of easy to see. But the Broncos, everybody kind of knew that they were going to blow it up. And so I talked about this trade a little bit ago. But he's for sure a stud. Now, one first-round pick, next year's first-round pick, send it. Send it yesterday. In fact, call me, Denver. You can get that pick if you want. But past that, because he's worth more than the first-round pick. Like, let's not get... He's worth more than 1-1, Past that, though, I would say, if you're feeling a Levi Wallace, we'll throw him in there, too. A first in Levi, and hey, no offense to Levi. I'm not trying to... I'll leave players out of the trades. But Levi, since I already said it, you're in this one. But for now on, no more players. So yeah, Levi a first, and then two thirds. Levi a first and 2/3, man, and we get Patrick Surtain II. Let's get a gunshot for that. Because to me, that seems like an obvious move. To me, a first, and I don't want to say next year's second, because then it's like, bro, we have no picks for the first 2 rounds. But a first and then a second pick in the following draft, I'm with that. In fact, if you talked to me nice enough, if you explained it in a way, if I saw like a preview thing, listen, all I need is one Patrick Surtain II jersey mashup, jersey mock graphic design. That's all I need to see, and I'm ready to send 2. I'm ready to send 2 first-round picks, But just right now, I got to be level-headed. I got to just really think about it, really think about the future. But man, is it going to piss me off if Patrick Surtain gets traded and it's for less than 2 first-round picks. Honestly, if the price is anything less than 2 first-round picks, there is absolutely, positively no reason why Patrick Surtain isn't a Steeler. To me, that is to me. Let me know what Patrick. And on top of this, I do want to reiterate, Patrick Surtain is a very good player. In fact, too, going back, because we know what happened with Minka, the Minka trade. I know more about Patrick Surtain than I did about Minka at the time, and I think Minka only went for 1-1. But I remember Surtain getting drafted. I remember that draft. I remember the debate between him and like Micah Parsons. So you know, and this is fairly recent. This is what, 2021. Like, this dude was a rookie 2 years ago. Like, this to me seems like a no-brainer. This seems like a zero-brainer to me. If there is any kind of reasonable price, if there is any trade that happens with Patrick Surtain in it, and we are not involved, then once again we flopped. Moving on, there's somebody else here that kind of excites me too, and that is Justin Simmons. Because as we know, we did lose Terrell Edmunds, and Terrell Edmunds is now a Tennessee Titan, I believe. Yeah, because they traded the Eagles traded for Kevin Byard. So Terrell Edmunds is a Tennessee Titan. KZ is, you know, kind of doing his thing. Keanu Neal, same thing, kind of doing his thing. But, I will say, I'm going to bring up this article from Steelers Depot, and I'm not going to get the newsletters, I apologize, but Steelers Depot, July 9th, 2022, so it's fairly long ago, but NFL executives rank Minkah Fitzpatrick as the number two safety in the NFL, right? So number two, who was number one, you ask? Number one at the time was Justin Simmons of the Denver Broncos. I am trying to highlight it, but I can't highlight it. I really hope you guys can see that pretty good. It's Justin Simmons. Big Truz is Justin Simmons. You know, he was ranked number one according to NFL League execs a little bit ago. Not to say, you know, he's ranked number one now. Not to say like that means something now. And Minkah should have been number one then. Let's not get crazy, because Minkah, you know, Minkah's a dog. But that could be a W move to me, is if we can get Justin Simmons. Like, you see all these people on here. You see the Broncos, they need picks. It's gonna cost a first for Patrick Surtain II, likely a first for Justin Simmons. But we know the NFL, it be happening all the time, man. It be happening where these great players just go for absolutely nothing. And I'm telling you, I can't take it again. I cannot take watching Justin Simmons get traded to who's really. I cannot take Justin Simmons getting traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, division rival, for a 5th round pick. I can't see it, man. I'm tired of it. And it's happened so many times with the Steelers, and we've never been a part of that kind of deal. You know, never. We've done the fleecing. We've done the Chase Claypool for a second. That's happened before. But in terms of us sending a 5th round pick and we get an all-pro back, like, that's never happened to us. It happens for teams all the time. I see it every season, every trade deadline it happens. The Eagles low-key kind of just did it. So I'm going to be really pissed if Justin Simmons or Patrick Surtain go for anything reasonable. Anything that's not over 2 first-round picks, we flopped to me. And Justin Simmons, by the way, last little caveat, I know we have Minkah, but getting Justin Simmons allows him to go to, I believe, free safety, and then Minkah to strong safety, or other way around. It's one of those ways around. Minkah right now, I'm pretty sure, is playing in a position where it's not like his strong suit. No pun intended. It's not his strong suit. And so if we can get Justin Simmons and have Minkah go to his original position, and then we got Justin Simmons out there. This article, it mentions Dan Moore Jr. in a trade, which, well, I guess I'll talk about in a second. But Jair Alexander is available too, who is not as young as Pat Surtain II. I don't think he's as young as Pat Surtain II. However, with that, we will have to give up a 1st round pick, guys. Like, I hate to break it to you, but there's going to be a 1st round pick gone. But Jair Alexander is another stud lockdown. Ask Jalen Ramsey and he'll tell you a top 5 corner. Ask top 5 corners who the top 5 corners are, and Jair Alexander and Pat Surtain II both come up. We're going to have to give up a 1st round pick. It is what it is. But Jair Alexander, to me, I don't think we have to give up multiple to get Jair Alexander, to be honest. And, you know, this is me with no fucking sources. No, I'm not trying to be a reporter. I'm just a fan, just talking, just how I see the league. I don't think we would have to give up multiple firsts for Jair Alexander. And if there is a world, hey, once again, I said we're going on fantasy land, baby. If there is a world where we can get Jair Alexander and Justin Simmons at safety, if we can do that, hey, man. And by the way, I know the salary cap exists, but does it? Does the salary cap exist really? You're going to look me in the eyes and tell me the salary cap exists when the Rams just keep signing players. Or I'm sorry, when the 49ers keep signing players, when the Eagles keep signing players. Like, it exists, but it can be manipulated, you know? And whenever you want to manipulate it, it seems like teams do it. And so I think that is possible. I think that can happen. Somebody else who I don't have up, who was listed a while ago as like a trade acquisition, somebody on the trade block, was Budda Baker. Budda Baker as well. He's coming up for a new contract. Send it, bro, because somehow, some way, we'll find the money. We always do. We always find the money for our stud defensive players. Players who are borderline, players who are like, maybe they're a stud, maybe they're not. A la Cam Sutton, a la Mike Hilton. You guys are great players, but we didn't see it. You guys weren't studs, on paper officially, so we let you go. But if you're a stud on paper officially and you play defense, we'll keep you. And Budda Baker, to me, is that. Pat Surtain II, to me, is that. And Justin Simmons, to me, is that. And then, Justin Simmons may be falling off a little bit. I'm not going to lie, that number 1 over Minka kind of threw me for a loop. Now I'm hating just because. But hey, if you're a Pittsburgh Steeler, maybe you can be number 1. Number 1A, 1A, or 1A, 1B, something like that. But yeah, we find a way to keep defensive studs. And so the salary cap, I know it's like a real thing. And I know, it could make some of these deals technically impossible. But if we want it bad enough, we'll figure it out. That's really the point of all this. If we want it bad enough, we will figure it out. Back to this picture, though. Dan Moore for trade featuring Dan Moore for okay, so this is Dan Moore for Jair Alexander. Oh, isn't he a starting left tackle? He started, fucking 2 seasons? He is, technically. So, hey, if you're calling our phone and you're calling with anything less than a third or higher for Dan Moore, guess what? Slamming it. Because Dan Moore Jr. is a stud. He's a beast. Call us, man. Come get Dan Moore. Come get your left tackle of the future. Come get your right tackle of the future in Chukwuma Okorafor. I said I wasn't going to trade players. I apologize, but hey, man, if teams are calling about Dan Moore, fuck it. Call about Mason Rudolph, too. That's a quarter. Who needs a quarterback right now? Like Mason Rudolph, come up off a 4th-round pick. You can get them both. All right, hear me out. Dan Moore, you get a stud left tackle. You get your left tackle of the future, okay? You get Dan Moore, right. You get Mason Rudolph, 2, a quarterback. You get your left tackle. You get your left tackle. You get your quarterback. And why don't you guys go get a real offensive coordinator like Matt Canada? You can have all three of them, for 1 2nd-round pick. Matt Canada, Dan Moore, and Mason Rudolph for 1 2nd-round pick. How does that not sound beautiful? If you're a team listening, I'm telling you, call me, man, because DMs are open. Leave a comment. I'm open to it. So, hey, if you're representing a team, call me, let me know. But realistically, though, I don't think Dan Moore is going to get traded. Realistically, though, I don't think we're going to get DeAndre Hopkins. Realistically, though, I don't think we're going to get any one of these players. Just based off Steelers of the past, we've always been linked to these kind of deals. We've always been like these very aggressive trade deadline people on paper, on Twitter. But then when it actually comes to be aggressive, we're not aggressive. We sign someone from the practice squad. We bring someone up. Next man up standard is the standard. Eyelids, cut them off, all that Mike Tomlin stuff. And lastly, I'm coming down to the end of the video, but doesn't it feel good to be coming off a good win like we did against Jacksonville? We play them next, but against who did we just play, man? We just beat somebody who was relatively good. The Rams. I'm sorry, yeah, the Rams. We just beat the Rams. Doesn't it feel good to be coming off that win and the offense scored 3 touchdowns? Doesn't it feel good right now? I remember for the past 4 weeks, every video in the middle of the week coming out of me has just been reading the worst negative, hateful comments ever. We've just been so mad, and I want us to remember this because Matt Canada is very prone to just stink shit up and fuck shit up again, and it's not just Matt, it's Kenny, it's the line, it's everybody else. We got all these problems. So it's a week-by-week league, and we will see how we feel next week, but I do want us to kind of hone in and remember this feeling of hey, man, we looked pretty good last week. And so if we looked pretty good last week, if we continue to look very good, like it was portrayed to us in the offseason, and the reason why we kept Matt Canada, because things were going good and things would look better. That's what they told me, right? That's what they told me and you guys. They told us all that. So if that is going to happen and, it's on track to happen, then wouldn't you, at 4-2, division still in reach, wouldn't you want to go get a stud to kind of close this out when you have obvious needs? We have obvious needs at the corner position, guys. We have obvious needs there. Honestly, shit, anybody who can tackle. If you can stop the run, we need you. Anybody who can tackle. Speaking of that, too, I want to close the video with this. Cameron Hayward, he was getting in some practice. Shout out to Nick Farbaugh for this footage. He was getting in some running. As you can see, he's running what? He's running like a 70 yards or 70 miles per hour right now. That's like a 3:2:40 time right there. Cameron Hayward, he's going, it's a slant too. You seen the cut right there? Guys, take a look at this cut right here. Oh my God. Is that not 20 yards of separation right there? Is that not the hardest cut you've ever seen? Man, Cam Hayward's coming back. Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. If we get any one of these guys listed on here, any one of them, if we get Cortland Sutton, we're going to the Super Bowl. By the way, By the way, just to end the video, I'm going to end the video with this. I'll let you guys decide. Jerry Jeudy or DeAndre Hopkins? Who should we trade for? Because, I mean, if we're going to trade for DeAndre Hopkins, who's kind of old, Jerry Jeudy's available probably for, hey, that's just me. That's just me. We're favorited to land DeAndre Hopkins. Favorites. We're all in on Hopkins. Can we be a little in on Jerry Jeudy if we're all in on Hopkins? I don't know. I'll let you guys decide that. I am going to get out of here. Once again, overall points. Thank you for 300 subscribers, guys. Thank you if you were here at this point in the video. You watched the whole thing. I really appreciate it. Every subscriber, every view I get for talking about the Steelers is a blessing because I do this for free anyway. So that is going to do it for me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell. Big notification gang. Big Zaya&TheSteelers. Big Epic Games friend request. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it just popped up. And let me know who we think who you think we should trade for. If there's anybody else who I didn't name in this. And these people named on here, who do you think is like the favorite for us to trade for? Let me know. Anyways, that's going to be it from me. Peace out, and see you in the next video.